Welcome to the Sporting Spotlight, of course, brought to us by our great friends, Air Diffusion Australia, the best air conditioning company in Australia, if not in the world.
And he just popped in and turned them on. You seem to...
The boss, mate. You know it's good when the big boss, Billy Threadgold, walks in and flicks on the air conditioner. But what you really like, mate, it's working within about 10 seconds.
That's right.
So we like that. Now, our next guest, and we've had some doozies on our show, Bazz.
Yes, we have.
Italian descent. Woodville High School boy.
Yeah.
37 years he was with the Advertiser, the chief footy writer. 22 years with 5AA before he joined SEN in 2019. Covered hockey in 1988 in the 2000 Olympic Games and was quite a good hockey player himself.
Really?
Now, I think I've given enough clues.
I think you have.
And we're lucky to get him because he's got the Drive show that he runs on SEN with Kim Dillon, and God knows how he's been able to keep that going, carrying the anchor around him with Kim Dillon. But he's been successful. We talk about the one and only Michelangelo Rucci. Rooch, great to see you.
Hello, Phil. Hello, Barry. Who cancelled? Who cancelled? Come on.
No, mate. You at Bazz rang me and said, I've got one. I've got a doozy. And I said, okay, who is it? Michelangelo Rucci. I said, wow, lucky if he can fit us into his schedule.
No, I'll always fit you in.
Now,
always.
Rucci, most people start the interview with, tell us about how you got to Australia, how you went to school, your life
Hang
at
on
the...
a minute, I'm an Alberton boy.
Advertiser.
I'm born and bred at Alberton. What do you mean?
Born and bred
How did I
Alberton.
get to Australia?
Good
But
Alberton
we know
boy,
that.
mate.
You were born at Alberton, mate, went to Woody High, but you venture every year, you take off
Yep.
back to Italy, mate.
Yep. That's where the ancestral roots are. That's where life is.
Yep.
You know? Yep.
Now-
You work here and you live there.
And escape. And it would be a great escape just to get
Absolutely.
away from all the rubbish here and whatever, and bang, you're a free man.
I gather that from when I was in the States, and I would occasionally go to a baseball game. Bear in mind, this is, baseball every day. You think about the guys who are covering any team.
Baseball.
161 games as it was then, every day. Travel, game, travel,
You just went
game.
for the hot dogs.
No, I didn't. But when you get to know them, you go, well, guys, fatigue, wear and tear, how do you regenerate? And you got spring training as well. And they were quite clear. You work every day and then you disappear somewhere for the off season. And I thought, that's a model I can work with. I'll do that.
Nice.
So when I came back, footy became 24/7. More 24/7 than ever before. But that was the key thing. Go hard every day, and then have a block at the end of the year to regenerate, refresh, get away from everything.
Well, mate, that was the reputation on you, that you were 24/7, you were intense, had a lot of contacts, and then you did take that break. Was there a burnout phase during the year? Did you find, if we talk about the English cricket team right now, copping a lot of criticism for taking the 5-day mental break or freshen up in Noosa, and I heard Carey say, well, we're doing the same thing. We've gone away for 5 days with our family. Was there a period
They're winning.
during the footy season, mate, where you thought, I actually do need a break, but it can't, I've got to push through? Mid-season hump?
I guess when you get it to the point where the days are shorter, the nights are longer, it's colder and all that, you get the environmental fatigue. But no, look, if the script was always out of control, wasn't it? You couldn't control the script. You didn't know how a result was really going to play out. So, you had something different every day. The beauty of covering sport was every day was different, even if you were doing the same thing every day. So, look, you get fatigue from... And I used to really note that at the US Open tennis in New York, and that is an event that starts early, goes till 2, 3 or 4 in the morning if you've got Jimmy Connors. And there's that theme, you don't know how tired you are until you stop. So you go day after day. There's no fatigue while you keep going.
Yep.
And then you get to that day, which is between the qualifying games and the semis, the women's semis. Nothing on, maybe some doubles. And you hit the wall. But if you keep going, you won't note it. And that's how it was with footy. 24/7, you just keep going. And then when the draft ends, you go, oh my goodness, how tired am I? Where's that plane?
A lot of people know you as the footy writer. Obviously 37 years with the Advertiser and obviously the chief footy writer, but they don't know your journey, and you've touched on it a little bit, mate, your time in New York, your time at the US Open. Can you take us a little bit through that journey on how that period led you to there and then led you back to Australia?
Oh, the 80s are a dramatic change in Australian newspapers. The Murdoch era changes everything.
Yeah.
So the Tiser gets out of a system where it's a family owned. The Benithan family is no longer there. The Herald Sun, the Herald and Weekly Times system is no longer there. It's now part of News Corp. There's a lot of change. And I can remember sitting alongside Alan Shield, who used to go to every Shield game that South Australia played. And he was only going to Adelaide Oval. Now it was, well, whoever's in Sydney or Melbourne or Brisbane or Perth, they'll cover it. And you know that the story's never going to be to the way of which tells it like Alan Shield could have told you about the South Australian team. It would be a generic story about, New South Wales opened with 271 with a loss of only one wicket. And you go, well, hang on, that's the New South Wales story. So things were changing. And I was, touching base with international sport. I got to go to a fair bit of stuff between 86, 87 and 88. I think they knew I was about to walk. If they didn't give me some opportunity to keep going somewhere else, I was going to walk. So the opportunity came to go to New York, and I did everything and anything there. I remember getting a call one time from John Reid going, I'm reading a story here on page 27 of the Tiser where you've interviewed some sex therapist. I said, what, do you want advice or what are you reading? But that's how it was. You were doing anything and everything. I remember going to presidential campaign rallies in Seattle. It wasn't just sport. So it was good for that. You learn... You learn a lot of different things from a lot of different perspectives outside of sport, which you then can take into sport. But what I loved most was I'd had a little sample in the early 80s when newspapers were being challenged by live radio. KG was changing the landscape in Adelaide. I mean, Phil Smyth was going on KG to tell why he was leaving the 36ers to go to Canberra because he knew it was an unedited, live-to-air interview. If you stuffed it up, Phil, you stuffed it up.
Yep.
But in print, it was always going to be edited, wasn't it? This bit would be taken out, or that bit would be out. So they were winning in that space, live radio. And Kingo found a way to either you made yourself unmissable in print, you had to read him. And some of his stuff, match day, were games that were, Monday's ties that were still readable, even though the game was played on a Saturday. But when you went to the States, and you're dealing with people like Mike Lupica who could just turn a basic sporting event into poetry. I mean, we'd had a sample of it here in Adelaide with Mike Coward, but the Americans were miles ahead of what you could do. It was like you didn't have to be at the game, but if you read this stuff, you felt you were. The spirit of the game was in the words, far more than some of the stuff I read even today. North Adelaide beat Port Adelaide by 12 points at Prospect Oval on Saturday. Well, what have I learnt from that? Nothing. So it was a great time to go to the US to just learn how things were changing and how things were going to constantly change. Look what it's done now with the internet.
Well,
the
that's
internet's
false.
changed it all over again.
Yeah, that's false advertising. Not that they would never beat Port by 12 points at Prospect anyway.
No, well, unfortunately, I saw a few of those games, Barry, even with the great Russell Ebert playing against Barry Roberts.
Yes, I know, mate. I saw it myself. You would have seen some unbelievable games and
events,
not only
yeah,
footy,
yeah.
events
Yeah.
as a sports reporter.
Yeah.
Is there a big one? Is there a massive one? Is there one that every day you go woo?
Oh no, the one that I shake my head and go, how lucky was to be able to go to the 1990 World Cup.
Okay.
Football.
Yeah.
In Italy, in a time when it was still culturally driven. Like you knew how the Italians played, knew how the Germans played, knew how the Austrians played, knew how the Dutch played. The Africans were emerging. That was the Cameroon World Cup with Roger.
Yeah, Cameroon. Yeah.
But what we're seeing probably now with a lot of sports is that when you have big domestic leagues and a lot of players moving about for money, is there a cultural stand to any sporting team anymore? Do they have a cultural way of playing, or is everyone just working off the same hymn book and it's just about who has the better players to that hymn book?
Yeah.
I mean, Italy doesn't play like Italy did in 1982.
Yeah,
They can't even qualify for a World Cup.
Haven't
the
been
direct
around,
path anymore.
yeah.
So, things have changed. But 1990s, classic.
Yeah.
To walk the streets of Florence when I think they were still Czechoslovakia then. I went to the Czech Republic, I don't think, at that stage, and Austria. And actually finding fans who were musical and two supporter bases trying to outplay each other with music before they outplayed each other on the football field.
Yeah,
I mean, it's just culturally.
Yeah.
Surely the Brazilians win that, don't they? They certainly do in basketball for having the best music of the game.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, without
Yeah.
and the most fun,
Yeah.
you know, the games going on and they're phenomenal.
Going for it, yeah.
And that was a pre-internet World Cup as well.
I don't think there's
No
any...
social media either.
Well, I don't think there's any atmosphere like the English Premier League. I don't think there's anything that matches it. I've been to AFL grand finals and whatever, whether it's the closeness of the whatever, but the atmosphere of those games, which to me, it blew my mind. It actually blew my mind. I'm there and I go, whoa, what is this? And I'd been to some big games, obviously, what I thought were big games. These were only round games. These weren't finals or FA Cup final. This was just a home and away game at Old Trafford.
Well, the one where that hit home was probably the Super Bowls.
Yeah.
And to then read up about the history of how the Super Bowl began, what it was all about, but the influence of television when you get, you know, a major television executive telling the NFL, we'll buy the game, but we want a halftime show. Because if you can't guarantee the entertainment from your athletes, you better guarantee it at halftime because that's when we're selling ads.
They've done well lately.
And haven't we seen that translate to virtually every other sport at the moment? Like I'm sorry. It does my head in where every year we get a debate about who is doing the pre-game and halftime at the AFL Grand Final.
It's true, isn't it? It's true. Yeah.
Any care for that?
You don't please everybody.
No, but look, it's an event.
Yeah.
It is an event.
That's right. And it's normally, as you say, there's normally a massive argument. I think, in fact, I even think we might have even had a go at the AFL halftime at some stage.
Can't remember.
Yeah,
I depend which year.
No, I think it was this year. I think it was last year. I think we had a go at whoever was doing
Snoop
it.
Dogg.
Who was it?
The Snoop Dogg, mate. Yeah.
Yeah,
Dogg.
I think we had a crack at the Snoop at the
He
dog.
turned out he wasn't too bad.
Yeah, he turned out well. I don't know. I didn't see it, mate. I was busy watching the Welcome to Country.
Roach, you do your study to become a journalist, mate. You do a journalist course.
No, I didn't.
You didn't do one?
No, I didn't.
But you spend a lot of time studying other journalists. You touched on there, Mike Coward.
Yeah, but
people
look,
in
to
the
go back
States.
to the beginning. So, look, but when I started, there wasn't, well, not that I knew of, there wasn't like you signed up for a course. I mean, I went to Adelaide University to do a Bachelor of Science degree, but I can remember a sub-editor at the Times one time saying the difference between me and many others who were coming into the place was I didn't go to a university. I went to the University of Life. I did it myself. I did it myself. Whether that be Messenger Press, Magpie News, Football Budget, Football Times, whatever.
But you studied journalism. That could be deemed a study. Not going to university, you studied people that did it.
Phil,
you self-taught yourself,
but
if
Phil,
you like.
you're an accomplished athlete.
Yep.
Did you read a book? Or did you actually work on a court? Or did you look at
No,
other
same
players?
as you.
Exactly.
Worked
That's
on
what
the
it's
court.
about.
But I studied what other athletes did.
That's the key.
So I'm saying
That
you
is the key.
studied
That's
what other journalists did.
Yep.
Now today we jettison ahead. And I understand how the world evolves. Things change and we accept that.
Yep.
Otherwise we're all in horse and buggies.
Not a bad thought.
Yeah, but you go, are you frustrated at all by that now that a lot of the people that are involved in media are just giving opinions? And I understand it has to be instant and quick, but we've lost the ability of the research, the truth, the facts, which you spent a lot of time over the journey in your job doing. Do you find that frustrating now that I can just say whatever I want without even making a phone call to resource and check?
So let's drill down on what happened here. So if we go, I'll pick a date, 1982.
Yep.
And the biggest story that is brewing in Adelaide will be a Sanford story. 82 is probably John Halbert, Glenelg, Sturt, all that.
Yep.
That was an era whereby if you had good contacts, and people like Jeff Kingston, Mike Coward, and you can go back to Laurie Jervis, Keith Butler, Merv Agars, Gordon George, they'd have great contacts. This is a small town. One person knows 7 others immediately. So eventually one of those guys will stumble or be put into the loop. Hey, something's happening with John Halbert at Glenelg, or something's happening with John Halbert at Sturt. I can't remember which way it went. They are going to then go into an office as it was in Weymouth Street. They're hoping like anything the news hasn't got it because they've still got probably 2 editions to go. There was a 2 o'clock start at the Tides Sport Department, 2 till 10 or midnight. You're hoping the news, because this town is small, it's going to whisper around, but you're hoping. 2 o'clock, 2:30, red spot comes out, they haven't got it. You're not really worried about TV. TV sport news wasn't big at that time. It was...
Growing.
Yeah, but it wasn't what it is today. So now you're working the story. You're going to have to ring Halbert. You're going to have to ring Tui as the CEO at Sturt. You're going to have to ring Kernahan as the CEO at Glenelg. You're going to have to ring a couple of other people to find out, you know what, I'm getting told this, am I being played, etc., etc. You're now working the phones. Not mobile phones, the phones, for hours. You might even have to go to Glenelg Oval and get Harry, corner him. You know, you're having to work it. Now you're getting back, you're typing it up, and you're having to type it up with every bit of information you've got in your notebook. You've got heaps of information. You've got to sample each bit of it, say which is relevant for the reader. Remember them? The reader.
Tell the story.
Now you're getting closer and closer to midnight and you're going, you know what, TV's out of the way, radio's out of the way, KG's gone, he didn't get it tonight. The news is gone. Those blokes are, asleep and they're going to wake up at 5 and we're going to have a front page story about footy. The big story, John Halbert, this, whatever. Done. That's it. You'd wake up at 6, Phil. And it would either be 5 AD on your radio because you had Bazz and Phil or whatever, and the 6 o'clock news begins, and the advertiser is reporting this morning that John Halbert is leaving Glenelg to go to Sturt or whatever it was. Fine. That's how it was. Great process.
Great process.
Slow build, get the story, get all the facts, present them accurately.
So was that get all the facts, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what do we have today? So right now it is 2025, approaching 2026. Some of the best ones at the moment are young kids, and I say kids even though they're probably approaching 30, but they're kids.
Yeah, kids.
Say Mitch Cleary. And now it's an AFL context. We're talking AFL context. Alistair Clarkson is about to quit North Melbourne. He's not holding on to that for the 6 o'clock news service. So it's 11 o'clock in the afternoon, in the morning. Sorry, 11 o'clock in the morning.
Newsbreakers now, aren't we?
He's going immediately onto X, or what used to be known as Twitter. He's putting out exclusive tonight on 7 News. Alistair Clarkson quits North Melbourne. Solar Alistair to throw you in the mix here. That's it. The news is done in 7 seconds. It takes 7 seconds for that to travel the world. There is no news now. That's it. It's done. Now everyone's going to comment. You're going to have Kane Corns on SEN. I told you Alistair Clarkson was a bad choice. You're going to have David King then smash him. So now forget Alistair Clarkson's quit North Melbourne. It's everyone having their say on it.
Yes.
The world has changed.
Yeah.
Is it better? Well, better in some ways and worse in many,
others.
many others.
Yeah.
The whole process. So if you're a young, aspiring sports journalist, what are you facing? You're facing the fact that you're going to cannibalise your work on X. Whereas in my time it was, now you're going to do the craft, ring as many people as possible, get as many versions of this story as possible, present it to the reader in the best possible way. Your guidebook today is get it on X because you've got to be first.
Yes.
And everyone's going to copy the receipt. Oh, Mitch did it at 12:31. Tom Morris did it at 12:34. Oh, Mitch was first, even though they might have had the story.
Newsbreaker.
So that's the world you're in now. Yeah. But your point, the opinion's going to override the news because the news is perishable.
Yes.
It's gone. It's done. Everyone now knows Alistair Clarkson's out of Arden Street. Now it's, let's get a comment from someone. What else are you going to do?
Yeah.
Nothing else you can do.
What about when it's inaccurate? When it's inaccurate, do you reckon people get pulled up enough on that, or it's just become? It used to be that saying, well, it's only fish and chip paper. Don't worry about it. It won't be a story tomorrow. What do you reckon should happen when it's inaccurate?
Well,
Should
if
they
you're
be
seeking,
pulled up on it?
yeah, but if you're seeking accountability,
Yep.
you must then demand full accountability.
Yep.
Now, you and I have lived in sporting environments where a lot of the times the information that's provided is false.
Yep.
Because someone is covering their backside. So, and there have been some classics. And I heard Caroline Wilson say on one of those TV shows this year, yeah, the story was right on Monday, but it might not be right on Tuesday. And that can be absolutely the case.
Yep.
Like you might have a situation whereby she tumbles on, Phil Smyth is about to be appointed the Adelaide 36ers coach, right? And that is right at that point in time. As soon as she makes that public, guess what? Someone knifes you in the background. There's someone in the boardroom at the Sixers going, we're not having Phil back, and has enormous influence. By Tuesday, the story's no longer right, but it was right on Monday.
Yep.
Now,
That's a good point.
your point about it,
Fair
you know,
point.
yeah, stuff will be wrong. But I always ask the question, where did that information come from?
Well, you can't reveal your sources.
And a lot of the times, they are playing their own little game.
Yep.
If I kept a log of every lie that was ever told to me, it'd be one of the greatest books ever. And when you then go back to these people, mate, I was caught. I was dealing with a lawyer on one side of the room, a coach who's about to just break down mentally. I had to just make up a lie. I go, well, that's great, isn't it?
And why'd you tell me?
No, yeah, but that's the game. Now, yeah, you shoot the messenger every time. Oh, you got that wrong. I go, well, was it? Was it?
But how difficult to, either on air or in print, do a story on someone that you genuinely like, but factually, these things are all wrong. And I know if I write it, I'm telling the truth, but it's damaging their brand, or I'm actually hurting someone I genuinely care about. What's the line? Because you've had to do it. I'm sure you've had to do it. We've written a story on someone and gone...
Several times. Several times.
I risk losing a friendship that I cherish here, but I have to tell the story. How difficult for you to do those
So
stories?
if you were a policeman...
Yep.
And your neighbour, you've known him for 45 years, greatest bloke you've ever known, but you've just witnessed him commit a crime...
Yep.
But you love him, you respect him, but you've witnessed him as a crime. Are you doing your duty, or are you saying, no, he's a mate, I'm ignoring it? Which are you doing, Phil?
No, you're doing your duty. But
Do your
I
duty.
think people say, I can't believe you did that.
Well,
To your mate.
Yeah. Where, I don't think people understand. That's a really
Doesn't
good
come into
comment
it.
you make, that it's a duty that I have to do it. Never had many
I
people...
mean, if you're going to at one stage take issue with accuracy,
Yes,
then you can't have favouritism either.
there it is.
So, I've known a lot of people in times, and I go, you're probably not going to like what I'm writing. The problem here now is I can give you an example, right? But I don't want to mention the name because I haven't spoken to that person. Can I make this story public? But
Yes.
there's one from, say, what year was it? Mid-90s.
Yep.
Very good friend of mine.
Yep.
Very, very good friend.
Good friend. Really good.
I was a kid when I first, autographed with this bloke as a footballer at Port Adelaide.
Yep.
I'll give a bit away.
Yep.
Lined up for a very important job. That was the presentation in the media ranks.
Yep.
This person being lined up for okay, so you make some calls, you do some digging, you find out he's actually being played.
Right.
Where you have, in certain situations,
Yes.
someone is put up as a front runner.
Yep.
It's just to get the send off while you're
Deflect.
dealing with
Yep.
it. So I rang said person, mate, you're being set up. You go into this meeting, they're not interested. They're just playing you. You're coming in one door, they're actually the real candidates in another door. Very, very angry with me. Very angry with me. I thought I was doing him a favour, saying, mate, you're being set up. You're going...
Yep.
That took months to calm that storm.
Yeah.
And that was exactly the case.
Did you
He
reckon?
went to a meeting,
Yeah.
worked out at the end of it that it was an absolute fake interview.
Yep.
A week later, the job was given to the person I told him that they're going for this bloke.
Yep.
Now that took months to deal with that.
To
So
deal.
what do you do? You blow wind up someone's back? So oh, good luck with that interview. You'll be fine, mate. You'll be great. Or do you actually say, well, no, I actually care about that person. I'm
Yes.
going to tell them what I know.
But do you
They didn't like it.
Yeah. Do you think the general public understand that? Because you've touched on it. It's a duty to do that.
I
where they
feel-
just go, I wouldn't do that. But if they're in your position and they're committed to the job, then you go, why should I have to do that?
Phil, over 40-odd years, the one thing I know about the public, the fan, the spectator, the member, is they invest their loyalty in emotions, not in reality.
It's a great word, isn't it?
Now, I'm a sporting fan as well.
Yeah.
There's teams that I read about because I'm actually invested in them emotionally. Do you think I like reading some of the stuff that's being said about my teams when they're rubbish? No, I don't. But I'm also a realist going, that's been written for a reason.
Yep.
They're bad. They're not 0-13 because they're good. Right?
No, 100% correct.
So,
Yeah. Do you reckon you've lost many friendships over the way that you
No
wish?
doubt.
Yeah, it's sad,
Absolutely no
isn't
doubt.
it?
But that, you know what? If they were friends,
Would have made the phone call.
Wouldn't have gone.
Yeah. The book, The Dynasty, mate, you wrote in 1999, great story, a legend, a footy club, a family, the Williams family.
Yeah.
How long to write that book?
Well, it took time, but for me, the saddest note of that, it should have been done many, many years ago.
Yep.
You know, and I remember talking to Mike Sexton. There's two famous names, Odie, Williams. They changed what footy had been from the pre-Second World War era to everything it was in the 50s, 60s, 70s, and still probably today. For me, it doesn't add up that you can have Jack Odie as a legend, but Foss Williams isn't. They're a pair. I mean, let me put it this way. If you had Abbott and Costello going up for Hall of Fame in Hollywood or the world's comedy museum, you're not putting one in and leaving out the other. You're putting both in.
Well, both
Odie and Williams should have been. For me, the Williams story, the Odie story should have been told in the 70s. There should have been books then, but we didn't do books then, did we?
No.
So, I mean, one of our problems in Australia is, particularly with Australian football, is we don't have a big enough market. I mean, you can look at the huge book that was done about Red Smith, which is a great story about coaching in the VFL. I'd love to know how many sales there were on that, because I doubt that they would have had a huge circulation. Steve Ward does a book. He's assured multi-million-dollar sales in India.
Yep.
So I get it why we didn't have the Odie Williams book. I would have loved to have had Foss Williams tell that story in 1981, not 1999. But no, it was a great assignment, great task. And look, I'm proud of how there is one Sandford club that took a heap of those books and said, this is a template of what we're going to be. They won 10 premierships after that.
Central Districts.
That's the one.
Exactly right.
And they've actually bought them again. And Paul Thomas is living that story right now at Elizabeth. They've come in good again because they're going back to the principles that Foss Williams put in place.
Well, they
Excuse me,
openly
it's a
admitted
blow
that
my
as
nose.
well, Roosh. They openly admitted that, didn't they? They changed everything. They changed their locker room, the whole schmear. If you went to Central District's rooms, they were exactly the same as the Alberton rooms. Names on the lockers, 100 gained, all everything.
If you can't beat them, beat them.
Absolutely everything. So good on them. But they didn't hide from the fact that they did it. They came out and said that we did it for a reason.
Nothing wrong with copying success.
Well, you know, why wouldn't you? That's the thing. Mate, we talk about enemies,
Yes.
and over the years you would have made a few. Quite a few.
Wouldn't have thought
Well,
that.
there's no doubt. You have to. I mean,
It's going to be a good funeral, isn't it? People turn out to make sure I'm dead.
Well, you know, I copped it all the time about you, about he's a port man, he should not be writing about the Adelaide Football Club. That was a constant from Adelaide.
So these are the same people who then didn't mind Graham Corns writing about Port Adelaide.
Well,
though.
exactly right. That's a very good point. That's a very good point.
Come on, who hasn't learnt the first rule here that you turn off your phone?
Baz.
Me. I'm waiting for
He
a
gets
call
it.
from
He
Donald
waits
Trump.
till we do an interview, and then he gets someone to ring a couple of times, so it seems important. Rich.
Yeah,
Got it.
It'll beep about 4 more times.
It's always in the cell, mate.
But did that ever affect you, mate? I mean, seriously. I mean, the Adelaide Footy Club and the Port Adelaide Footy Club. I know the people from the Adelaide Footy Club used to get into you all the time about favouritism, which I never ever saw, mind you. And I'm not being biased as a Port Adelaide man. I always found that your writing was fair, and I did read all your articles as well because I found them accurate. But you did cop a lot of flack, and over a lot of years as well. From 1990 onwards, they did not like you at all. Where did that stem from? Why did that
But
happen?
again, it comes back to what I said earlier. People are not reading stuff with clarity. They're reading it with emotions. Now, I mean, I've met people who will tell me stories about, you know, famous actors and singers and comedians in the US, and like I'm reaching that age where I can't remember names, but there's one guy who kept the very first review that was ever done of his show in his wallet, and it wasn't a good review. But it was a reminder to, because this was a guy who wasn't working off emotion, he was working off reality. He's going, if I ever get a review like this again, I'm not on stage ever again. And at the end of every show, he would open up his wallet, read that review and say, now, have I made sure that the next review isn't going to be a repeat of this one? People don't like... I mean, seriously, Baz, who in the world would ever like to have the truth put in front of them? I mean, that's why I'm fat. Phil, you would have lived it.
Oh, yeah.
You are in a sporting environment where you've got to give feedback to people. Not everyone takes it well.
Yeah. Well,
But if you can actually tell someone in that feedback, I'm telling you this to make you better.
Yeah,
I'm not doing this to drag you down. I'm making these assessments to make you better. The challenge is then on them. And I always had that view with be it Adelaide, Port Adelaide or any football
Well, that's
club.
what I thought. That's what I thought.
You can take my assessment with a grain of salt. I don't really care. But if you care about yourself, you'll be better.
Yeah.
So you will actually sample a heap of opinions. And they are opinions. That's what we've got in sport, is opinion. You can work out yourself which is worth following and which one isn't. I mean, if you can't deal with that, get rid of the coach. Just let the players go out there. They all know how to handle it, don't they, Phil? You don't need a coach giving them feedback.
Yeah.
You know, it's the same thing you said, though, mate, because it's emotive. Part of the game is emotive, the reporting, the playing, however you like it.
Yeah.
And I say to people often when they want an opinion, do you want the warm, fuzzy one that makes you feel good? Or do you want the honest one? Or do you want the brutal one? Which one do you really want? Now, what you said is the brutal one is the one that's going to make you better.
Key is how you also deliver it,
How
Phil,
you
isn't
sell it,
Yeah.
bit of honesty.
Yeah.
Or I'll just say warm and fuzzy and you'll just stay the same. You'll just be inconsistent.
Don't you learn then about the character of the
100%.
athlete that you're coaching?
Yeah. So I couldn't tell you how many players and coaches over the journey have come in and go, can you believe what this guy's saying about me? Or can you believe what this woman said about me? I go, well, what are you worried about? Were they accurate or are you hurt because they said something negative that was honest, or have they misjudged it? Make your decision based on that. But, you know, just trust in the people that you trust is the most important thing. Mate, we could talk for hours about this stuff, but I'm really interested. It's a long journey, 37 years, mate, and, you know, maybe 50 all up in sport.
No, it's 47 at the moment.
Not trying to date you, but we're close
I'm okay with
to
carbon
5
testing.
decades. You know how they say he was the greatest or she was the greatest of all time? Do you subscribe to that? And the reason I ask that, because I often get asked, who is the best basketball player of all time? Who's the best cricketer of all time? Who's the best footballer?
All right.
So I think it's generational.
Yeah.
I think you dominate a 10-year period,
Yep.
and that makes you the best in that. It doesn't mean that you wouldn't be really good in the next period, but if you dominate 10 years, if you're one of the best over 10 years, you can be the greatest of that, be the 60s, the 70s, the 80s or 90s. So we always talk about Ebert and Rodman
Yep.
or Platten
Yep.
as far as just South Australian footballers. We forget about the Kernahans and the other guys that we didn't see as much of, went over to the VFL, hypothetically.
Right.
Which one do you describe to? There's a greatest of all time, or there's a greatest over the 60s, the 70s, 80s, 90s to
Well, there's a couple of
2000s?
elements to that. So you're opening up this box that I always love to throw around.
Yep.
I mean, I always get amused when someone says, this is Australia's greatest ever victory in something.
Yeah.
I go, okay, which one did it replace? And then they stumble. So I go, hang on, if you're saying this is the best, it has to be compared against then what is now becoming the second best. So tell me which one it replaces. And so you then realise what is
good way of looking at it.
hype.
Yep.
Eras. You and I can now go to Adelaide Oval. Adelaide Oval's been there for 150 odd years now. And there have been some great footballers who have stepped there to make the game what it is today.
Phenomenal.
Since the redevelopment, the rebuild, that's a great venue. Find me a grandstand, a statue, anything that's named after a player pre-1939.
Yeah.
Oh, there wouldn't be.
So you're going to tell me that between 1861 and 1939 there wasn't a great, and they were.
Yeah, no
Not
doubt.
greats.
No
Our
doubt.
problem is
No one here to talk about.
we're generational. This is our era.
Yes.
So we declare what we declare.
Yep.
But there would have been men as footballers who became heroes. I mean, there's Harold Oliver who goes through an era at Port Adelaide, and people have then sent to Gallipoli in Egypt. And as the new ships come with new troops, they all ask one question: how's Harold Oliver going? he has his funeral, no one turns up. It's one of the saddest stories ever. You know, like this is a great South Australian footballer.
Yeah.
Dies and no one knows.
Time.
So
in your time, let's talk about your
Mine,
time,
yeah.
not research time.
Yeah.
Have you got a couple of the footballers you just... so we'll forget this bit we just discussed. Is there a couple where you sat there first time you watched them and went, wowee?
No, I'll tell you the one. And this is the one that gets lost in the Ebert Robin one. I mean, they're two phenomenal footballers.
No doubt.
I mean, I can still see Barry even now. Those moments whereby he was that smart. Space is critical in sport. That whereas most players today, as soon as they're faced with an opponent, it is, I've got to get past them quickly. Barry knew how to create space by taking a step back before he went forward. Now, whether he got that from basketball, that's the theme, isn't it? Create space. Ebert was amazing. Like, so I still see some of those handballs when he's on his knees and they're better than kicks. But the one who gets lost in all this, and if you want to know just how good he was, go get some of the vision. The beauty of now is to talk about social media and all that. YouTube has these old bits of footage. Paul Bagshaw, phenomenal footballer.
Great player.
Phenomenal
bloke.
skills.
Great player.
But it's Ebert Robin.
Peter Marker.
Well, Peter Marker is more than a footballer. I mean, his statesmanship. I mean, not just what he did then in football, but he goes into a commentary box and some of the stuff he did was just very, very good. That Ian Day, Peter Marker combination through 70s and 80s is golden football television.
But the Ebert and Robin thing just umbrellas everybody, doesn't it? Everybody talks about those two, but underneath those two there were just players that were just...
Well, I'm not even sure that Bagshaw's underneath. If you can't put him alongside...
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
You
could say him, Kernahan for sure. You would have to put him up
Stephen,
there. Yeah, they're just players that... I think Ebert and Robin were so good, and once people start talking about two players, then that's it. You're not going to talk about anybody else. But I saw Bagshaw one day at Unley Oval. Well, here's another one, Rick Davies.
Yeah, extraordinary player.
How good was Rick Davies?
They don't bring up the 76 grand final.
I mean, you know, as a...
Still don't get
people don't talk about them, but I tell you what I do, because, and I'm one-eyed, as you know, I get more one-eyed than me, but I'll talk about other players because when I go to the football, I watch football.
But beyond that, Phil and Barry, you also have to have admiration for guys who weren't maybe, use that term as blessed as Barry and Russell were. I mean, they were given a blessing and they've made the most of it. But I really admire the workman athlete who, hey, I haven't got all these skills, but I've got a great work ethic or I've got a great attitude. You know, let's take Paul North East at Port Adelaide. You know, like you go, well, if he was currently, you take that young Paul North East currently going through a draft combine, they'd be ruling lines through, right? I can always remember Kevin Sheedy saying he'd go to recruiting meetings and the recruiting manager would go, Phil Smyth. Yeah, we've looked at him too small. Oh, Kevin would go, too small, is he? And then he would go through every small Brownlow medalist.
And there's a few of them.
Then the next one, Barry Curtin, too slow. Oh, too slow, is he? Then he'd go through every slow Brownlow medalist.
Greg Williams.
Putting labels on people doesn't always work.
Always dangerous.
Because you forget that inside there might be a little bit more than just slow legs. There might be a very fast mind who can actually see and move the ball faster than guys who would beat him over 100 metres. Greg Williams.
Well, North East was a myth because of his kicking action.
Hit every target.
People would say, oh, you know, but he rarely missed a target with that action.
That's right.
That's what people didn't know, but he looked awkward kicking. But he would kick it 40, 50 metres and hit somebody on the run.
Well, I'm a bit of and the reason I'm always interested in this discussion, because you know, Michelangelo Rucci is top 25 players.
Oh, not lists.
Oh, yeah.
Not lists. Please, not lists.
But I am interested, mate, that you were a selector for the SANFL Hall of Fame and the AFL Hall of Fame. How
Australian
difficult?
Football Hall of Fame.
Australian. How difficult to sit in those spots and narrow down who should be in the Hall of Fame? Because again, everyone has an opinion on So why isn't Johnny Platten mentioned with Russell Ebert and Barry Robin? Look at his records. He's a phenomenal player. How difficult then to select someone into a Hall of Fame?
Enormously difficult.
Yep.
Because the game has developed now what we used to mock of baseball, is everyone keeps going for numbers, right?
Art stats, great.
Now, I could sit in a room and they would throw up heaps of numbers. And, you know, you get a CV and they were best and fairest All Australians and so forth. Brownlow medals, McGarry medals, Sandover medals. They don't always tell the story, do they? I mean, I can find you great defenders who will never, ever have anything on their resume. But you go, without them, this team doesn't win a premiership or... So what do you assess? And in the end, yeah, you can look at the records, but to me it's about... You know what the line breaker used to always be? If it was Phil, Smyth, Barry, Curtin, and I've only got to pick one, they're 2 grades. That's really hard. Split both of you at the moment, okay? I'm looking at your records and going, I know what they did. But ultimately, you know what the one thing that I used to always say, did one of these guys bring people through the gates? That could be the real breaker. Is this a player? Forget, 17.4 disposals and 13 intercept marks or whatever else we've got now as a stat. Did he bring someone through the gate? If you can do that, you're having an enormous influence for Australian football. You're bringing people to the gate.
Stats.
Oh, no, stats.
Mate, stats. People, there was a program I was watching where they had about 10 AFL players, and all they gave them was stats on 10 players. No names, just stats, is what Rucci is saying. Then they had to pick their best 10. Right? So you pick yours. I think there was 20 or 30 names or whatever. You pick your best 10, your best 10. Not one of those players were the same as the other player. But they're looking at, 346 games and 200 goals. Well, he's in.
So the debate at the moment about give stats to the umpires to the Brownlow medal, a tool to help them. Interesting, this one. Let's do a game. Hawthorn v Adelaide. Lance Franklin, star forward for Hawthorn. Ben Rutten, star defender. If Franklin gets 10 goals, he probably gets 3 votes. If he gets 0, no goal, 1 behind, he's only had 3 marks. And Ben Rutten finished up with stats of 0 kicks, 0 marks, 0 handballs. How many votes are you giving Ben Rutten? How many are you?
None.
But shouldn't he be getting a significant amount of votes in a Brownlow?
100%, mate. I have this argument about Harrison.
So what are the
Andrews
stats telling you? Stats are, what are they telling you?
They're a guide in some ways, but if you can't see it with your eye and know what's happening in the game, you go, we're picking the wrong people.
So talk to Nathan Buckley about the day.
Accountant could do it. We'll give it to the accountants.
Yeah.
Just look at the numbers.
So talk to Nathan Buckley about the day he's at the MCG and the champion data screens just fly. They couldn't get him back up for a while. And he suddenly goes, I'm having to make judgments from my eye, not from what this computer screen's telling me. Do you know if all these theme rounds that we have in the AFL, I've advocated one for a long time. It's called stat-free round. We have one round, no stats are taken. None.
It's really interesting.
Coaches then have to coach by instinct. Every person at the game has to judge their 3-2-1 again on what they've seen, not what they've read on a screen. Bet you it's a better day.
Oh, that would be... That's a very good point. That would be a very interesting round.
So to help the fatigue of the statisticians, we give them a round off. Stat-free round.
I couldn't tell you, Rich, over the journey how many times I've said to coaches pre-season, I want you to coach the game without the stats.
Do it.
And do you reckon they can do it? A couple have done it and have been grateful after going, I've learned a lot. Again, the stats are to reinforce what you see, not to tell you what you see.
Exactly.
So if you're relying on it, again, what's the movie that came out where they used the numbers? It's a baseball movie, wasn't it? Where they used the statistical data to recruit their team and build their team. I can't remember the name of it, but saying, well, if we're just going on numbers, then just get the best accountant. Just get the best accountant to coach the game.
Oh, you can
Go
get
right
AI
on.
to do that for you now, can't
You
you?
know, and you go.
Let's get rid of these 6 blokes in the back room and let's get a computer.
Mate, let's go through some of the great events that you've touched on. Have you got a favourite? And I'm not NFL. Is there a moment through the NFL through your journey you go, yeah, that's my favourite game, and that was my
Oh, but I'm
favourite
lucky there, Phil. I went to
player.
5 Super Bowls and none of them were good.
None of them.
One of them wasn't too bad. One went into.
No, but there might have been a game in your time in New York where you went, wow, you know, I saw San Francisco playing, and they were just great through that period.
There's a lot of them.
Yep.
But if you want to talk about, if you said to me, I've got the ability to send you back to one event,
Okay.
just one event.
Pick one.
I've got this magical machine.
Yep.
Do you remember when there were these round the world yacht races? BOC.
Yes.
The gas company or whatever they are used to sponsor them. They were all coming in one year to Rhode Island post America's Cup. So I had a very long weekend at Rhode Island. These yachts coming in, and very lucky to be able to go out on the water on a old America's Cup 12 yachter. Give me that day. Give me that weekend anytime.
I'll take it again.
Not just because of the sporting event, but this history of a place that was the home of the America's Cup until Australia ended that. You know, there was this lovely little baseball ground there with still wooden decking. Like you think, wooden decking today, that wouldn't get past health, occupational safety, or whatever they call themselves. But
No
no,
wind
there was
kill.
just. See, the point here I'm making is, yeah, I can throw you up
They
US
could.
Open finals.
Yep.
I can throw up NFL games of where, you know, there's one in Cincinnati, which was just manic, you know, this scoreboard game. But is there a place where I actually enjoyed every minute of every part, not only of the event, but everything around the event? Now, we talk about gather round. That's not just about a footy game, but about building something around. So you come to Adelaide from interstate, you're not just going to a footy game. You want to go to the parade because there's a food festival. Go to the Barossa because you're going to have a few little drinks. That's what that Rhode Island weekend was. It was, to me, I actually, and look, I would love you to send me back to Fenway Park for some of the Boston Red Sox games. I'd love that. But for all that, I'd take this long weekend at Rhode Island every time. Beautiful weather, beautiful sailing, beautiful people. Everything about it was just perfect.
All right. I'll narrow you down on this one. I've appointed you coach of the new Tasmanian team that's just coming in.
Well done, Rich.
Congratulations,
Thank
mate.
you.
Well done. The AFL is gifting you 3 selections. You can pick any 3 players that are currently playing from any club, and they're yours. There's no draft. You've got 3 picks to get you started. Who are your first 3 picks of the current players to start your team? You're the coach. Who are you going for?
Ooh, so I can get anyone I want.
Anyone you like.
Yeah, so now I've got to have to work through strategy as well. I'm going long-term or direct hit. So maybe I mix it because you're giving me 3. Get a bit of everything. So I need a leader and I need someone who can work more than one role. So I'd probably go with Marcus Bontempelli. I need a leader. I need someone who's going to bring a lot of others. I need a warrior. It's a contested game, all that. So I'm probably going with Zach Butters.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the key is, do I want a really strong defender or I want a really strong forward? That's the next big challenge. In the strong defender, I'm going with Sam Taylor.
Okay.
I mean, everyone says you anchor something at the back and then keep working forward. So they're the ones. Bontempelli, you can give me range. Butters, you can give me contested footy. Sam Taylor, who gives me strength in defence. Where's the paperwork?
Can you sign up? I mean, I could have said 5, so you've got the spine,
Oh,
which
come on, we
would
can keep, yeah.
have given you a little bit more to work with. So, yeah, interesting. Yeah.
3 handy players. 3
Absolutely.
very handy players.
If you had those 3, Tassie would be looking good.
I'll get you going, mate. You track a fair bit of footy, and then you're a Port lover. Better this year, early days, always hard to make the prediction before you see a game. Change of coach, was it time for a change?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, probably. I mean, stability is great, but you'll also get fatigue with stability, and I think that's also a case off the field as well. I mean, I've been an admirer of what the Kosh era did from 2000, was it 13 onwards?
Yeah.
Not that I agree with everything that Jeff Kennett says, but he's probably right. Everything should have a limit. And it's interesting, like, term limits then force you to deal with things. You've got to do it. It's a bit like, we talk about the trade period. You give them 14 days, everything gets done on the 12th, 13th, 14th. If you give them 5 days, everything gets done on the 3rd, 4th and 5th. The more time you give them, the more they'll drag it out. But if you've got term limits, you've got presidents, chairmen, board people going, no, we've got to get this done. We're not dragging this out. So, yeah, stability, fatigue, change. But you don't just change for change. You've got to change to be better.
Yep.
I love Josh Carr.
Yep.
Love everything he has been. But that doesn't mean that I don't walk into 2026 going, I've got huge questions here. But when he was appointed, and I didn't like that whole issue of, I would announce this in February. Why? Now, in that press conference, David Koch says, we wanted the best first-time coach. Whoa. I thought you would have wanted the best coach. That might be a first-timer. I just didn't like that phrase at all. The best first-time coach.
Would be
So, and look.
be unusual for a best first-timer to be the best coach.
Oh, there are some.
Yeah.
There are some who go in and bang, it happens. Yeah. Now, Josh's challenge is talent. Now, I'm reading, everyone's coming up with Port Adelaide's best 23 for next year. And I look at it and I go, look at everything forward to centre going, a lot has to go right there to get winning scores. That does concern me, really concerns me. Georgiades, I love. I think he can deliver 40 to 50 goals a year. I'm not seeing, I'm far from convinced on Lukosius. Marshall goes back, that's interesting. Midfield, well, it's interesting when people talk midfield, Phil, Barry. You know, I say to people, like they don't have a nice little moment with a Port fan only 2 days ago. We've got a great midfield. Oh, okay, tell me what the midfield is. Come on, Barry, tell me Port Adelaide's midfield.
Well,
Best midfield for 2026 Port Adelaide.
Well, it's got to be Horn Francis, Butters, Pal Pepper.
No, you've got to take him out.
He'd
Not take him because he's injured.
He's in there. He's
Okay.
got to be in there.
Right.
Drew would be in there.
Yeah.
Who am I missing? Bergman would be in there. It's pretty handy, isn't it?
It's interesting because you've answered it with greater depth than others do. Because every time I ask that question, it becomes ruckman, follower, rover, and possibly centreman. I go, what about the wingmen? They're midfielders.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
Now, Port hasn't got the best midfield in the AFL. It doesn't have a complete attack, and the defence has some question marks on that. This is a big ask for Josh Carr to turn this around very quickly.
Yeah. I still think that midfield at full strength is as good.
Oh, no, that's the next one I keep hearing when we get
As
the best
good as.
23s. Injury-free.
Yeah.
Can someone please remind me which team has won the premiership in an injury-free season?
Every team's going to have injuries.
Exactly.
Every
so
team.
Port Adelaide's depth is not...
But I don't think every team's going to have a run like they had last year, although I thought Essendon's run was fairly similar.
Barry, the concern
But
for me
it's
is...
not the injuries, mate.
Barry.
It's who the injuries happen to.
Exactly, but every one of these best 23s that I see of Port Adelaide being floated by fans, experts and so forth, if that's injury-free, and I'm already looking at the bench and going, there's 3 guys on there and going, they're not the best. The depth is a challenge. Now, Port's made an enormous gamble. I don't know their strategy. It is load up, get Dougie Cochrane, which is an
They
interesting
know what
debate,
they're doing there.
and getting all these young talent. Okay, that's fine. Dougie Cochrane, 3 father-sons. That's a long wait to see how that plays out.
A year.
It's more than a year.
Well, it's not really. You'll get Dougie Cochran next year.
So you're telling me Dougie Cochran becomes an immediate impact player in 2028?
Oh, I think, mate, was Horn Francis an immediate impact player?
I think if you look at his first year, you wouldn't say he was immediate
Well,
impact.
you put him in a team that can play, and he would be. There's many of those immediate impact players.
My point is that strategy is full of risk. If the AFL had announced at the start of the trade period, Port Adelaide will have no pick, everyone would have been outraged. Yeah. Outraged. Yeah. We saw what they did to Carlton. It sent them back 20 years. Yeah. Port Adelaide chose to sit out a draft. That's right. To me, that is an enormous risk.
Well, when you get your first pick at pick 46, why wouldn't you?
They gave away a second round draft pick. They gave away a second round draft pick.
What was our first pick?
Yeah, but they gave them away, Barry.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. But
they gave them away for Lukosius. They gave them away for other players.
Yeah, well, see, I think you don't rate Lukosius. I'm on the other side of that. I think he can.
I just remind you, Gold Coast played finals without him. He's got a lot to prove.
Yeah, that's irrelevant to me.
That is irrelevant.
Totally irrelevant.
That tells me Damien Hardwick made a very good decision.
He had a year of no luck with Port last year. And I think he's a very good player. And the reason that Marshall can go back.
I hope you're right.
Well, I think he's an extremely good player. Name me you probably will. Name me a number one pick that hasn't been a gun, other than maybe who? Maybe a Trengove? Maybe who else hasn't been a gun?
Where's Jack Watts sitting in that?
Jack Watts, is he a number one?
He was number one.
Was he number one? Yeah, okay, yep. I'll grant you him, yep. But I don't see Jack Watts as in Jack Lukosius' class at all. I think he's a perfect fit, I think, for Port at the moment. If he's fit and running around.
Let's reconvene in 5 years.
We'll reconvene, all right, Rich.
5 years, we'll make a note to have it.
Anyway, the key point there is Josh Carr needs talent.
Yep. It's young. They're young, aren't they? They're a younger group too.
Yeah,
so they're developed. It's going to be a bit of time. Be patient would be what I would say.
I don't know Port fans to be patient.
No, and that's the risk involved.
No, never have been.
Matthew Nick's about to sign a contract extension.
Why?
You're the journalist, mate. I'm asking the questions. Would you? So you choose not to do it.
You
would wait. You would wait.
If I was club president.
Yep.
So let's do it in a European context.
Man, they don't sign them past 3 weeks, let alone a year. So
but I'll be going.
Hurry.
I'm not signing any contracts.
Yes.
Not yet.
Why am I committing? I mean, I might believe that he's the right man. That's why I've appointed him. But I'm sitting through this. What are my risks in sitting through this? Another club takes him. I doubt it. Don't I? Why am I signing someone when I don't have to? Right. Because the only reason you'd be doing that, Phil, is because you can't handle the question week after week. And that's what famously happened at Port Adelaide. And then they tried that. Oh, we won't make any decision until August. Yeah, they made a decision in June. I mean, too often clubs get worried about the question. Oh, when are you signing? Well, why aren't you signing?
Yeah.
Well, no, we've got a strategy. We're fine. We'll keep answering. You can keep asking. Ask as often as you like. You're not changing our course, our belief in what we have to do.
Good point.
I actually would love a club. I would love John Olsen to tomorrow morning. The next time someone rings out, oh, you signing Matthew Nicks? No. We're going to wait. We have a course. We'll see. Our responsibility is to make the best decision for the Adelaide Football Club. That best decision will come in time, not now. Just call everyone's bluff. They're asking, they just want to fill a back page, or they want to fill a news report. That's not how you run a footy club.
So
I mean, I get it.
I understand what you're saying.
Nick would sit there and he'd love it.
Yeah.
Security, stability.
Yeah. Well, it takes away a lot of distractions. It brings a calmness.
But the distractions are external.
Yes.
Is there a distraction internal?
But they'll still come, those distractions, if he signs. If he signs tomorrow,
well, there's always
and they lose the first two games, there's your distraction.
Yeah.
But they go, no, why do they sign him?
So the interesting part for mine is that, depending on who you talk to, so I'm bringing it back and saying, You say no, you say yes. It's part of the game. It's what sport does to us, doesn't it? It divides on, I've got an opinion, and I don't agree with you. I don't agree that the bloke from Port Adelaide, I think even though he's had a bad year, he'll be a great player next year. And you go, well, show me the evidence to that. There's some factual stuff that we have. But I wanted to ask you this, mate. I've got two questions. I know you're short
Can
on
we just
time.
go back to Nix?
Yeah. I just want to finish with Nixie.
Yeah.
Yep.
Had Matthew Nix taken Adelaide to a grand final last year, or this season, past season,
Yep.
loses it by 15 points. You say, well, we track this, everything we're seeing. Game day, we saw a coach make the best of the, be beaten by a better side.
Mm-hmm.
You go, we've got enough here to say we believe that this is going the right way.
Yep.
Okay, let's put a contract in front of him. Maybe you do argue. Clear the air. Minor Premier, didn't win a quarter and a final. Okay, solid work, but I'm not seeing a reason why all of a sudden I have to put a contract in front of him. Why?
So I view it differently to you. My question always has been around coaching. Has he got the group performing as well as they can? Let's not worry about wins and losses. And we understand that how that impacts on everything.
Yeah.
But did he have the team playing as well as they could? So were they beaten in the two finals games by finals hardened teams or by more talented teams? Yeah. I don't know. I haven't done the research, and it's very difficult to go. And I really dislike at the start of the year where they go, "Oh, Port Adelaide should win it this year. They're the most talented team." How do you know that? How do you? Who makes the decision on who's got the most talent? It's a. How can you tell that? How can you tell who's got the most? You can say, well, they're pretty close. So that would be my question. So if I was sitting in the boardroom, I'd go, yes, he lost the two finals. Yes, he didn't win a quarter, but were the group playing as well as they could have at that time of the year? Are we inexperienced in the finals? What are we missing? And if all those were, well, we've got answers for that, as opposed to, well, actually, I think if you lined up, here's this team, we actually should have been better. Then there's some argument. That's how I would view it, not so much on the win-loss ratio. And we all view things differently. But I struggle with every year I hear people go, no, they're the most talented team. Really? How'd you work that out? Your questions are good. Tell me who was second. No, I don't know, but they're the most. Oh, but you don't even have second or third or fourth.
So how did you rank them?
Yeah, so how do you rank them? The two questions I'm really interested in for you, mate, is did you ever consider coaching? Were you ever approached to coaching? I mean, you have a great knowledge of footy. Did anyone ever come to you and go, mate, you got any interest? Have you got any interest? So I guess a two-part question. A, did you have any interest? And B, did anyone ever go, got any interest in, being an advisor, getting involved?
Yeah, but I don't do that in a sporting context, man, but I do that in a professional context elsewhere.
Yep.
I've been doing that for a long time.
Yes. Do you ever get asked?
Well, no one's knocking on the door offering me an opportunity to go coaching anyone.
Yeah.
No. Well, are you offering me one? Have you got something up in Brisbane? The weather's good.
Oh, no, I think in Australia, you see it more, and you've been in Europe and you've been in the States, where they look for people they think that have great knowledge, and they're not scared to go and ask that question. They're not asking you to coach, you want you to be the head coach, but you have a lot of knowledge there that you've accumulated over a period of time.
Yeah.
I need to tap into that.
Yeah, I've had organisations, be sport or non-sport.
Yes. I'm just talking purely footy at the moment. Never been.
No.
Well, you're on a selection panel for the Hall of Fame. So
Yeah, I'm just curious.
Yeah, but I've had sporting organisations.
You're not gonna
We
get
need
that
you
without-
to sit in here and give us that feedback. I've had
Yes.
those moments.
Yeah.
I've had times where people have said, "Here's the X and O's. What do you think will happen if we did this?"
Yeah.
Well, here's my thought.
But nothing on a permanent,
No.
like a...
No
have you
one-
ever
no
had
one's-
an interest? Would have you been interested had you got asked? Or it's too hard with the role that you had?
No, it wasn't going to happen, so I didn't think
No.
about it.
Do you think it's something we miss, though, in our country? There's people with knowledge that we just let them slide by?
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, if you look at the way world football was changed by Arrigo Sacchi, that's his appointment to AC Milan by Berlusconi is one of the most amazing stories ever. And then, when he's appointed, people go, who is this guy?
Yeah.
He'd never done anything, never played, to a high level and all that. Never played, really. And I love what he said at his press conference when they all came at him. I didn't know you had to be a horse to be a jockey.
Bad answer, isn't
The man changed world football in the 90s. Should have won a World Cup for Italy. I mean,
Yep.
two blokes at the penalty spot in the final against against Brazil, putting it. No, I mean, he should have won a World Cup. He's a brilliant coach, but never played at a high level.
I just think sometimes there's people, maybe it's more my curious nature that I don't know that we seem to follow a pattern, and sometimes we need to break the pattern to be successful. And there's people with these outside of our, whether it be a basketball or football or soccer, where we go, there's a fair bit of knowledge there. I'm not interested so much in the intricacies of the game. I want to know what you see, what you've seen over
Well, the classic
journey,
man
what
of that
makes
is Rick
success.
Charlesworth.
Yeah.
Extraordinary man.
Yes. I think.
I'd bring him into any organisation.
Yeah.
Not talking about sport, any organisation.
Yeah.
To get someone who could just analyse and give you the feedback you need, unconditional feedback, not I've got to say it in this way or phrase it in this way. He is brilliant,
Yeah.
and it's no surprise that everywhere he's gone, things come out to be successful.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. Mate, your time in sport?
So when do I go to Brisbane?
I'll talk to Fags. I'll give him a call. Well, as soon as we finish, I'll say, listen, mate, I've got someone that you're interested. Did you have a couple of favourite coaches over the journey that you know, at a presser or you watched their style of game where you went, you know, you touched on Odie and Foss. Have there been some since then where you go, I really like the way that he goes about his business, this guy? More recently, let's say in the last decade.
Oh, Malthouse would be in that list.
Yep.
Yeah, very, very clever man.
Yep.
And people don't judge him with love because he was tough and he burnt bridges along the way. But you know what? I look at some of those press conferences. Look, press conferences at AFL level have been destroyed.
Yep.
They don't exist anymore. But when you go back to when they're at their height, you go, hang on, if you're going into the room and you're seeking to play with the sword, don't be surprised if one comes back at you.
Yeah.
Oh, come on, just chill out here, guys.
I sat in a couple more out of interest to go through my coaching, just to sit and listen to them. And I went into the Malthouse one, and I liked Mick. I'd spent some time with him going to learn from AFL coaches, and I went in and, you know, normally 3 or 4 guys sit at the front, a couple sit, everyone was at the back. I think other than yourself, you sat about 2 rows back. It was like he intimidated the whole room before the first question
Smart
was
man.
even asked.
Smart
There you
man.
go. Was there another coach that was as intimidating?
Oh,
or
no,
close?
not probably intimidating, but the one that I found was philosophically, you know, worthy of always talking to was Dennis Pagan.
Yep.
You know, his philosophies were, you had to admire them and look at the success that he achieved. I mean, okay, there's the talent that he brought from a junior system at North Melbourne. Remember when we had junior systems at footy clubs and turned them into a great team in the 90s? But philosophically, some of the stuff he would say was more about life than just footy. Oh, there's a heap of those coaches who you would go, any dinner with them would be amazing. Lee Matthews.
Yep.
I mean, Lee used to, at times when I was living in the States, bob up in New York, and to have the chats with Lee about things that were changing in footy. And even he, as he went from football to television commentary, fascinating discussions with him. A lot of those, yeah.
Mate, you talked about if you could wind back the clock, if you could go to any sporting event. You talked about Rhode Island.
Yep.
So I just want to ask you quickly, so you don't have a lot of time to think about this. This was a bit more bang answer type thing, 4 or 5 quick ones. If you had to go to a boxing event, you could go any time and see any boxer you wanted to see. Who would you go and see?
Ali.
All right. Any AFL footy game you could go and see. Who is the player you would most want to watch?
Current? Now?
Anyone you want.
Oh, that is a tough one because over the year I've seen a fair few. I'd probably like to watch Andrew McLeod again.
He's pretty special. All right.
Good pork, man.
Soccer. Greatest round ball game in the world.
Andrea Pirlo.
NBA.
Oh, well, I did see a bit of that. Oh, you give me the Jordan moments again. Yeah.
I
would look. I didn't get to see Larry Bird, but I would have loved to have seen that Lakers.
They rave about him now. Larry Bird. They rave about him.
Yeah,
don't they?
he was pretty special. I
Well,
grew up through
yeah.
it. Track and field? Any event?
Track and field.
Barry Curtin, probably. Gun
and field,
hurdler.
that's interesting. What would I do at an Olympics track? I mean, everyone does the 100 metres, but that's... Oh, the high jump's the one that...
High jump?
Because I used to do a bit of high jumping myself.
Okay, yeah. All right. Cricket, you can see any cricketer. Who do you want to see?
At any year, at any time?
Any era, at any time.
No, I'd go see Ian Chappell.
Yep.
Bingo.
All right, last question, mate. You've got 3 people you can have for dinner.
Yeah.
Who are the 3 people? And can be from any era. They can be current, past.
Present.
Who would you have?
3
at your,
people.
3 people. Who would you have at your dinner table? Anyone you like.
So put aside immediate family?
Yep.
'cause you
Yeah.
always-
No.
always-
Immediate family aside. Yep.
Oh, I'd have both of you. And leave the 3rd chair vacant.
Come on, mate. Who would you have? Surely you'd have the Pope. The Pope would have to be there, wouldn't he?
No.
Not the Pope? No. Okay. 3. You've got 3. Come on. You've got to come with 3.
Even if they're no longer with us.
Yep. You can wind the clock back and have them. You know how you said it would be interesting to just spend time? Someone you went, I'd like to just sit and tap into that person.
Oh, now that is quite...
That's a toughie, isn't it? That's a toughie.
I'd love to have Sophia Loren and Gina Lollobrigida at a dinner table together.
Well, that's fair. You've got 1 to go.
I think you might need a priest as well to go.
He's got 2 and he's not sharing. It's a fair 2.
That's what I mean.
I wouldn't mind bringing back John F. Kennedy.
There you go.
Oh, okay.
That's an interesting one.
Yeah, Rich, we could talk to you for hours, mate. A
Harry
wealth of
Truman
knowledge,
wouldn't be
mate.
bad.
Harry
either.
Truman would be a
Yeah,
good one.
Harry Truman
Yeah.
wouldn't be... Because there's a man who, like, almost becomes an accidental president, doesn't he? And how do you ask him the question of hitting the button? Because he's the only one who's done it as a president, isn't he?
Yep.
He hit the button. Not once, several times.
Yep. A couple of them have dropped some, but they didn't hit a button as
So
well.
Harry Truman, Gina Lollobrigida, did you say?
Gina would be
And
there.
Sophia Loren.
Yeah.
Now that is the most interesting treble that I think I've heard.
Well, everyone's different. We like to have the people that think differently.
Yeah.
Frank Sinatra wouldn't be a bad one either, would he?
Who was that?
Frank
Good old
Sinatra.
Frank.
Yeah.
Yes. Mate, I'm, only because you mentioned Truman, and I'm sorry we were going to wrap you up because I knew you had to go, but you're watching Donald Trump now and you spent time in the States, mate. Well, what's your read on someone like him that...
Well, Trump's the example of the decay of public service. So at one time you aspired, I mean, even though they're like anyone could be, grow up to be president of the US, but people aspired because they saw it as a public service. And I can remember that change in the 1980s, and it was like Gary Hart when he was caught on a yacht with his secretary or girlfriend or whoever. And it's all of a sudden now there's been this change from, no, I don't want to be president because everyone's going to dig into my past. They're going to find that, I stole a bag of marbles from Phil Smyth when we were at grade 7 at the Baltimore High School.
I knew Rich did it.
And so there you are. I can't be president. Even though I might have the greatest skills, the greatest ability to lead an economy, diplomacy, etc., etc. But no, I don't want them digging into my past. So you know what? I'm wealthy enough, I'll buy a president. Who's a dummy I can get who can go sit in the White House and do as I tell him to do? Well, that's what we've had.
Yep.
That's where we've had the decay of public... Well, where are the statesmen or stateswomen? I mean, you can debate who she was, Margaret Thatcher, but I'll tell you what, I'd be much more comfortable with her leadership than Donald Trump's.
Well, would you be more comfortable with someone like a Kamala Harris compared to Donald Trump?
But what I'm saying there, Barry, is anyone you go through from the last 20 to 30 years, you vote for them because you have no choice. They're the only names on the ballot, but they're not the names you want to put on the ballot. You can find many, many people say, he should be president, he should be prime minister, she should be, leader of our nation. Why aren't they doing it? Oh, well, do you really want to do that job?
No.
It's like being with
Background
Kim
check.
Dillon on SEN doing the drive show. Do you really want to do that job with Kim Dillon, mate? Do you really want to do that job with Kim, mate?
Well, it's entertaining.
Is it? There it is. There we have it. It's entertaining. It is too, mate.
But,
Yes.
but how many people have you looked at over the years and said, he would make a great Prime Minister or she would make a great President? And then they don't put their hand up. Why?
Background checks.
Oh, yeah. Wait for B, Curtin. Right, this is going in a dangerous direction. Let's wrap it up right there, Rucci. Appreciate your time, mate. No, you're
Good on
busy,
you, mate.
man. If you want to get your sporting fix, obviously with us, you just get the podcast.
Yep.
But you need to get on SEN, listen to Rucci and Kim Dillon. It is a great show. Appreciate your time, Rucci.
But
on you,
I'm
Rich.
going to Brisbane now, aren't I?
You are.
You are.
I can still do the
I'll
show.
be giving Fags a call. You can do it from Brisbane, mate.
Thanks, guys. Have a Merry Christmas.
Good on you, mate. You too, mate. You
Cheers,
too.
mate.
Thanks for coming in.
Now, folks. No, get out, mate. You want to be on all the time. Like, share, subscribe. That really helps us out. Don't worry about what Baz says. Like, share, subscribe.